We took nature's deadliest predators and broke their will. We transformed wolves into companion dogs. We domesticated one-ton beasts to plow our lands. Homo sapiens dominated the planet by subjugating other species out of pure utility. But there is a brutal exception, a solitary predator living inside your home. He does not protect you, he does not work, and if you die tomorrow, he won't hesitate to turn his back and find another human to call his. Yet, you clean up his feces. You spend a portion of your paycheck to feed him. It took science a long time to understand this paradox, but the truth is disturbing. We never domesticated cats. They were the ones who taught us how they wanted to be treated.
10,000 years ago, humanity changed the rules of survival. We ceased to be nomads. We began storing grain in the Fertile Crescent. But this revolution created an almost lethal side effect. Where there are mountains of grain, there are oceans of rats. Agriculture attracted the plague, and the plague attracted Felis sylvestris libica, the African wildcat. Human arrogance makes us believe that we domesticated them. Science proves the exact opposite. If you analyze the mitochondrial DNA of the cat currently sleeping on your couch, you will come across a genetic anomaly. It is virtually identical to that of the desert assassin from 10,000 years ago. Think about dogs. We took majestic wolves and deformed them through forced crossbreeding until we created breeds that can barely breathe on their own, purely to satisfy our ego and need for control.
We broke the DNA of dogs, but the cat emerged unscathed. We didn't change him because he never allowed it. What happened in those early human villages wasn't domestication. It was an agreement, a millennia-old contract of symbiosis. Humans provided a warm territory and an endless buffet of rodents. The cat evaluated the conditions and accepted the job. They hitched rides on our merchant ships. They traveled with the Vikings. They colonized the continents for free. From pest hunters, they were quickly elevated to the status of untouchable gods in ancient Egypt. The contract was perfect. Mutual survival was guaranteed. Until humanity, in its classic paranoia, decided to tear up that agreement. During the Middle Ages, we declared absolute war on cats. We tried to exterminate them. And the payback nature gave us almost wiped our own species off the map. Humans have a biological difficulty dealing with what they cannot control. In ancient Egypt, our response to the cat's relentless utility was blind adoration. We elevated them to deities. Killing a feline was a crime punishable by death. The predator had become sacred. But the pendulum of the human psyche is unstable. Millennia later, in medieval Europe, the cat's independence ceased to be seen as divine and came to be interpreted as demonic. They were nocturnal hunters, cold, silent. They did not respond to commands, and their eyes glowed in the darkness. For a society dominated by fear and religious dogma, an animal that refuses to be subjugated by man could only be in the service of darkness. The Catholic Church, in the 13th century, formalized this paranoia. Cats were officially associated with witchcraft and Satan. What followed was a blind and systematic massacre through the streets of Europe. In this moment, we broke the pact made millennia ago, and the mathematics of nature exacted its toll. Without their ultimate predator, the rat population in Europe didn't just grow, it exploded in gigantic proportions. And with the rats came the fleas, and with the fleas came the Black Death bacteria. The irony is perverse. In an attempt to purge an imaginary evil created by its own mind, humanity opened the doors to a real biological catastrophe, which decimated a third of the continent. We paid with millions of lives to learn the lesson, and after the chaos, the cat returned inside our homes, as if nothing had happened. But the agricultural revolution and the Middle Ages have passed. We no longer need them to protect our grain. So why do we continue to serve them today? The answer is that they no longer rely on utility. They discovered how to invade our nervous system. In the wild, adult cats are ghosts. They do not meow at each other. Absolute silence is the golden rule of solitary predators. The meow you hear in your kitchen is not natural communication. It is weaponized acoustic biology.
Over millennia of coexistence, the cat has developed a specific vocalization designed exclusively for human ears. Acoustic studies prove that the solicitation meow embeds a frequency of urgency almost identical to the cry of a human baby in distress. Our brain does not choose to respond. It is biologically incapable of ignoring this sound. It is a hacked evolutionary trigger. They emit the frequency, we feel the visceral urge to protect, and then we feed them. And when we feed them, they reward us. Have you ever heard or felt a cat's purr? Were you able to remain indifferent? The act of purring is not a sign of affection. It is biomedical engineering. The acoustic frequency of the purr oscillates in the exact window between 25 and 150 hertz. In sports medicine and orthopedics, this is the proven therapeutic range used in treatments to accelerate the healing of fractures and the regeneration of tendons experienced in astronauts in zero gravity. When your cat climbs onto your chest and begins to purr, your body undergoes an invisible clinical intervention. Your blood pressure drops, cortisol release plummets, micro tears in your cellular tissue begin to heal faster. But make no mistake, he is not giving you affection. He is administering a low-frequency vibration therapy. And the evolutionary reason for this is brutally cold. They physically cure us with the sole objective of ensuring that the human survival machine continues operating perfectly in their favor. But the ultimate manipulation happens at a microscopic level. It is estimated that 1/3 of all humanity silently carries a parasite called Toxoplasma gondii in their brains. The primary reproduction of this organism happens in only one place on Earth, in the feline gut. When a rat is infected, the parasite surgically alters the rodent's neurochemistry. It completely loses its flight instinct and becomes fatally attracted to the scent of cat urine. It is mind control, programmed for suicide. This parasite is transmitted to humans when we clean their litter boxes. Modern neuroscience is still trying to measure the extent of the subtle alterations that Toxoplasma causes in human behavior, but it is an undeniable fact. There is a biological organism designed to benefit cats living inside your head. The lion is the king of the savanna, but its species is heading towards extinction. The Siberian tiger fights daily against the end. The majestic big cats failed to adapt to the absolute dominance of Homo sapiens. But look at that cat sprawled right there on your living room couch. Today, there are over 600 million of them scattered across the globe. They dominate the top of the food chain in our homes. They sleep in soft beds, receive cutting-edge surgical interventions, balanced meals, and are loved and idolized daily by billions of people on digital screens. They didn't need to develop opposable thumbs, they didn't need to build cities, and they didn't need to invent agriculture. They simply allowed the most lethal species in the known universe to do all the heavy lifting for them. This is real biology. You didn't adopt your cat. You were recruited, and history proves that this was their plan from the very beginning. The cat is not our pet. He is the ultimate masterpiece of evolutionary adaptation. Evolution doesn't hide its secrets. It only relies on our distraction. If the illusion of human control and the dark biology behind our behavior fascinate you, subscribe to the channel. We will continue dissecting the uncomfortable truths about our species. And tonight, when your personal predator demands to be fed, come back here and leave in the comments, who really rules your house?